Welcome back to another lesson. In this video, we are going to look at a question that was tested in the December 2022, and we're looking question number 2. The question reads, Shontex Limited, a manufacturer of stylish shoes, estimate that at full-scale production, it will sell between 2,000 and 3,000 pairs of shoes. The total monthly revenue in thousands of shillings over this range is represented by the function. Total revenue is 3x squared plus 7x. I want you to underline this one. The revenues are in thousands of shillings. The firm estimates that the marginal cost MC in thousands of shillings could be represented by the function marginal cost MC is equals to 5x squared minus 3x minus 2, and a fixed cost will be 1,000 per month, where x is the monthly output in thousands of pairs of shoes. Required, you're supposed to derive the average cost and the average revenue function for the firm. Now, let's begin. What is an average? Here we are supposed to look to determine the average. You're supposed to determine the average cost. The average cost is obtained from having the total cost. You divide by the number of units. That's how we find the average cost. Here, you have been told that X is the monthly output in thousands of pairs of shoes. Therefore, X will be the number of units. How do we get the total cost? The total cost is obtained by integrating the marginal cost. You have been given the marginal cost here. We integrate this one with respect to X. You integrate the marginal cost with respect to X so that you are able to find the total cost. It therefore means I'm going to integrate. This is an indefinite integral. You have not been given limits. I'm going to integrate 5x squared minus 3x minus 2 with respect to X. How do you go about it? Here, we shall have, integrate this one, we are going to have 5x cubed divided by 3 minus 3x squared divided by 2. I hope you have seen that. Minus 2x plus c. Now, c is supposed to be the, this c you have been told is the fixed cost. We have a fixed cost of 3. It therefore means, since the figures are in thousands of shillings, this 1,000 will become 1 shilling. It therefore means that the total cost is 5x cubed divided by 3 minus 3x squared divided by 2 minus 2x plus 1. How do we get the average cost? Average cost will be 5x cubed divided by 3 minus 3 over 2x squared minus 2x plus 1. Everything divided by x, because we have said that for you to find the average cost is the total cost divided by, you find the total cost divided by the number of units. So finally, our average cost will be this one divided by x. You get 5x squared over 3 minus 3 over 2x minus 2 plus 1 over x. The second part you're supposed to look for is the average revenue. Now, average revenue is total revenue divided by the total units. Total revenue divided by the total units. So what is the total revenue? You have been given the total revenue function here. That is 3x squared plus 7x. It therefore means here we shall have, this is 3x squared plus 7x divided by x, and average revenue becomes 3x. Average revenue becomes 3x plus 7. Now, I think up to that point I've made myself clear how to find the average cost and how to find the average revenue. We move on to the next part. We are supposed to calculate the profit maximizing output. In other words, we want to find the value of x that will give you the maximum profit. How do we find profit? Profit is given as total revenue minus total cost. Now, we have these functions with us. Total revenue is 3x squared. So profit is given as pi is equals 3x squared minus 7x. This is 3x squared plus 7x. Then I minus, what is the total cost? 3x squared. Where am I getting the average? Total revenue is given here. 3x squared plus 7x. Now, the total cost, we have found it here. This is 5 over 3x cubed. Here, we minus 5 over 3x cubed. Then minus 3 over 2x squared. Minus 3 over 2x squared. And then minus 2x. This is minus 2x plus 1. Minus 2x minus 2x plus 1. Now this is our total cost function. Open the bracket. 3x squared plus 7x minus 5 over 3x cubed plus 1.5x squared plus 2x minus 1. Add the like terms. 3x squared plus 1.5x squared. This will give me 4.5x squared. 2x plus 7x will give me plus 9x. And then minus 5 over 3x cubed minus 1. Excuse me. Now, 4.5x cubed plus 9x minus 5 over 3x cubed minus 1 becomes our profit function. Now, at maximum profit, you expect that d profit, the derivative of profit with respect to x, will give you 0. So can we differentiate our profit function? We find that 0 is equals to 9x plus 9 minus 5x squared. Yes. Now, this gives us a quadratic equation. You can rearrange this one as 0 is equals to negative 5x squared plus 9x plus 9. For my conveniences, I can divide everything by negative 1, and I will find that 0 is equals 5x squared minus 9x plus 9. Let's solve this simultaneously. Now, using the quadratic formula. This one will be better for quadratic formula. We shall have x is equals to, the formula is this way, minus b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. So I want to use this formula so that I can be able to find the value of x. So here I'm going to have x minus b. B is negative 9. So minus 9 I'll have positive. Plus or minus negative 9 squared is 81. Minus 4ac. Minus 4 times 5 times 9. What do you get? Here, this one, when you divide this one, this should also be minus. Divide by negative, negative, or this is negative. So, this is negative 4 times 5, 20. Negative 20 times negative 9, this will be plus 180. Divided by 2a, which is 10. So, you're going to find that your x is equals to 2.516. Now, this is the units that is required so that you can maximize profit. That is what you are asked. Calculate the profit maximizing units. These are the units you require so that you can get. Now, next you are told calculate the price charged upon maximizing profit and how much each pair of shoe would cost. So we are looking for the price. How do we find the price? If you want to find the price, it should be equals to total revenue divided by total quantity. Here we are going to have 3x squared plus 7x divided by x. And our price function is 3x plus 7. Now, 3x plus 7, you can either use this or substitute here. So let me do what? Substitute, but we have already found x. But x is equals to 2.516. Is that okay? Because we found x on top there. So your price becomes 3 into 2.516 plus 7. Let me use my calculator here. My calculator so that I'm able to find. Let me use my calculator so that I'm able to find. This is 2.516 multiplied by 3, then plus 7. You get 14. This one gives you, this is 14. This is 14 point. Yeah, you get 14 point. You push this one up a bit so that I'm able to write. Yeah, you get, this is 14 point what? This is 14.548. That is the profit, that is the price which is going to be charged so that you can get the maximum profit. Yeah, because we have said x, which is our the units which will give you maximum profit, is 2.516. Substitute here and you are done with that part. That part has given you how many marks? This question is supposed to be having 20 marks. You already have 4, 10. You already have 10 marks on that question. We move on to the next part. Part B, we are told that an examination was administered to a group of students and the results were as summarized below. The results where some students got a distinction, they were only 10%. There are some students who got a credit, there was 60%, and there are students who failed. A candidate that failed in an examination, he is considered having scored below 40% in the examination. In order to pass and get a distinction, you need to have 75%. Calculate the mean and standard deviation of the distribution of mark, assuming that the marks scored are normally distributed. Now, these marks are normally distributed, and you know the nature of a normal distribution curve. when you are studying the Z-score or standardization, what we did with the normal distribution, if this is your normal distribution, this is your normal distribution, we say that at the middle we'll have 50% here. We shall have 50% of the student who belonging upward and 50% of the student belonging downwards. That is normal distribution. Now, you are told that for you to have failed, those students who failed, they are only 30%. So from 0 to 30%, this category here, 0 to 30%, all these people are considered failed. They are 30%. I can say this one is 0.3. This is 0.3. They are 30%. Those people have failed. Now, those who scored 75 and above here, they are only 10%. And these people have a distinction. These people have a distinction. These people have a distinction. They are 10%. And it is at 75% mark, which you can also call 0.75. And this one, we have said this one is 30% or 0.3. This is 30%. What does that mean? It means 60% are in this category. 60% are here. Because here we have 30%. Here we have 10%. Here we have 10%. Here we have only 10%. Here we have 30%. It means 60% will belong in this category. But remember, I had initially mentioned that in a normal distribution, the 50% mark is at the middle. It therefore means here we have 20% and here we have 40%. So that when you add 20 plus 30 is 50, 40 plus 10 is 50. Good. And how do you get, look at this. I want to consider something here. Let me just use 0.3 and 0.75 so that you check for you. This is, for you to pass here, you need 40%. Below 40%, you have failed. Below 75%, you have you are what? You have a credit. But above 75%, you have. So in this question, what we are missing here, we don't know what is the mean and we don't know what is the standard deviation. Now, we have to standardize this score and get our Z. Let's get our Z1. And how do we find Z? Z is given as X1 minus mean divided by standard deviation. You read X at 30%. 30% means what? 30% you read at 0.3 on the Z tables, 0.3, and you will find the value of Z. When you do this, you are going to find that Z1 is negative 0.53. It therefore implies that if I substitute in my formula, negative 0.53 should be equals to X1, you already know the pass mark is 40%, minus the mean we don't know, divided by the standard deviation. Here you'll find that the standard deviation is equals to 40 minus the mean divided by negative 0.53. I hope I'm clear at that point. Secondly, we need to find our Z2. Z2 is X2 minus the mean divided by standard deviation. Now, how do we get Z? This is 30, so we have 30, 20, 40. We need to look for Z at 90%. This is 30, 20, 40. So when you add this, they give you 90. So let's find the value of Z at 90%. Now, Z at 90%, when you use your table, you find that Z is equals to 1.28. It therefore implies 1.28 is equals to 75 minus the mean divided by standard deviation. And standard deviation is 75 minus the mean divided by 1.28. So our task in this question is to look for Z, is to look for standard deviation and also look for mean. How do we look for this? Remember, I've made standard deviation the subject of the formula here. I've made the standard deviation the subject of the formula here. How do I proceed from there? All of them are representing standard deviation. Therefore, I can equate what is outside this equation sign. So I say 40 minus mean divided by negative 0.53 should be the same as 75 minus the mean divided by 1.28. Here, how do you proceed with this one? This high school math now, cross multiplication. I have 1.28 times 40. Let me go back to my calculator here. 1.28 times 40 is going to give me 51.2 minus 1.28 mean is equals to 75. 75 times negative 0.53 is equals to negative 39.75 plus 0.53 mean. Now let's add the like terms. So here we shall have 51.2 plus 39.75 is equals to 1.28x, this is the mean, 1.28x bar, this is x bar, plus 0.53x bar. So 39.5 plus 51.2, this gives me 90. This will give me, here we are going to get 90.95. This is 90.95 is equals to, let's come on the other side, 1.28 plus 0.53 gives you 1.81x bar. Divide by 1.81, divide by 1.81. So our x bar is equals to, that is 90.95 divided by 1.81. That is going to give us 50.25. This is 50.25. Good. Now, having obtained the x bar or the mean, I can substitute anywhere among this equation so that I get my standard deviation. My standard deviation here, substituting in the second equation, 75 minus the mean divided by 1.28, it means it is 75 minus 50.25 divided by 1.28. What do I get here? What do we get here? So let me use my calculator. 75 minus 50.25. This gives me 24.75 divided by 1.28. Then the answer here divided by 1.28. And you'll find that my standard deviation is 19.3359 to 4 decimal places. So that's how you are to find the mean and the standard deviation in this question, and you score your 10 marks. So we are going to stop there in this video. We meet in our next video and solve more questions. Otherwise, it's goodbye for now.